Okay, so what are you saying, people, and welcome back to your favorite YouTube channel. So today, guys, like always, another weekly analysis for you. On the screen of the pairs we'll be analyzing today, but make sure you do stay to the end of the video because I do have a bonus pair in store. But yeah, guys, we'll go through my trades for the week first, then progress into the analysis shortly after. So feel free to skip ahead using the timestamps below if you want to check out a particular pair. But I had two trades this week. One trade I'm currently in. Second trade was a loss on the Aodu NZD. Price came into a really nice zone, an area of confidence for me. Was watching the pair. I didn't actually expect to take a trade in the Aodu NZD this week because price was trading all the way down there. Then we had some crazy news for NZD, and obviously had this humongous push to the upside. So suddenly it just came onto my watch list. And I was looking for my shorts, got a good entry signal, but as you can see, the trade failed. Again, they're not going to win every time. And I'm currently still in pound Swiss, looking for a move to the downside, back into these lows. Higher time frames, you have this steady downtrend, more like a triangle pattern with these lower highs and this equal lows. So I'm looking for us to return back into the support level and possibly actually break through eventually. But nonetheless, currently short on the retest of the structure here, looking to see if we can roll over. Still not too far from the entry price, so I'll update you guys next week on how this trade progresses. But on to the analysis. So Euro USD, as always, so Euro USD has broken through a full H area, which I was looking for price to bounce from. But more importantly, we're still in this kind of daily zone. So even though we're breaking through this area, the market's consistently placing in lower highs and also lower lows as well. I'm still not keen to short Euro USD until we break through some key structure on the daily time frame. So I quickly flick to the daily. You can see we do have these major higher lows, 1 and 2, and we are coming to a major resistance, now turned support. So even though we've broken through that 4H zone, this is still not a good place, generally speaking, to short into. If we're breaking through this and seeing confident daily candle closures breaking underneath, possibly even see the weekly candle close beneath this area here as well. So if you see another confident bearish candle on the weekly, that will be a really good sign that, okay, the market's breaking through that structure. This bearish trend here on the 4H is likely to continue. So until I start seeing the market breaking through this, I'm not willing to short Euro USD at current price. The market is making successive lower lows and lower highs, but in terms of location, this is not a good play. So I'm actually going to see how price reacts with this level. If we start breaking through, like I said, I'll look for retest and lower highs to short. But if the market starts rejecting this area, especially if we can break structure to the upside and create some higher lows, I'll be looking for some longs for Euro, because again, this is a very, very nice place of confluence in the higher time frames. 4H is my main time frames where I focus, which is currently bearish. So I'm going to wait to see if this can shift bullish, start creating some higher highs and higher lows, start seeing some good bullish momentum, and then I'll start looking for my longs. Right now, there's no long trade there for me. Like I said, structure's still bearish, and I have to wait for that to flip first. So I'm going to see how price reacts with this area coming into next week. If I can get some good bullish development, then I'll probably be eyeing up some longs and some break of structures late in the week, or maybe even next week potentially. But yeah, that's kind of my outlook on Euro. If you're looking at selling, I would advise maybe waiting for price to break through 1.07. If you can see some confident daily candle closures below that area, then shorts underneath it look a lot better. But yeah, I'm not really interested in the shorts until we get something like that. So I'll be keeping an eye on Euro, see what we do around 1.07, very pivotal place. DXY is kind of do the exact same thing as Euro USD, but flipped. DXY is coming to a very solid level of resistance as well. So I'm eager to see what dollar does and how Euro USD reacts as well. And then probably can get some nice longs if we see some good bullish development. If not, the shorts are still there, but I'm pausing on Euro now until I see some better development. But I'll keep an eye out, because again, still solid buy zone, buy area, but not seeing the necessary price action to enter any trades yet. So keep an eye on 1.07. If we can get some good buys, probably will target some areas up here. But yeah, we do need to see that development first. So that's my outlook going to Euro into next week. Okay, so now on to USD JPY. So this one's a bit of a runaway train. The market is just steaming to the upside. Again, we are looking at 142 as daily and weekly kind of targets for this one. So I do still see a little bit of mileage left for USD JPY to the upside, but I do need to see some retracement for this, because yeah, I'm not seeing the retracement I'm after right now. For the past 2 weeks, I've been looking to buy USD JPY, and I just haven't seen a good retracement. Did get some nice retracements here, but ever since this kind of big climatic move to the downside, the market's just been ripping to the upside here. So for me, I'm still looking at a pullback into 137,500. That's kind of the only area of interest I have. Again, on the low time frames, sure, there's some nice pullbacks, so you can take advantage of those miniature pullbacks on like the 30 or the 50 minute. Those will make some good trades in the lower time frames, but on the full H, the time frame I'm trading, I'm just not seeing the pullbacks I'm after at the moment, which is completely fine. I'm not expecting to see the pullbacks I'm after every single time. Again, I trade a wide range of markets, so sometimes trades will just run away without me, and that's just a consequence of of dealing with bigger pullbacks, which is perfectly fine. But 137,500 is still my only area of interest. Again, we've got some good confluence down at this area here as well. We're still seeing good high lows forming back down here. Connect the major high lows here. We've got 1, 2 over there, and possibly if you can come into this broken resistance and support, you could be seeing a third one into this area. So I'm going to be looking to see if we can get a corrective move down, and this may even take a week or two to get there unless we have an aggressive sell-off like we had not too long ago. But it may take some time to get back down to 137,500. But at this point in time, unless the market creates some structure around here, this is the only suitable level for me to look to buy USD JPY from, and I'm not looking to sell it either. Even if we do get into 142, I'm not looking at sells. The market structure is still up, higher time frames are still up, still seeing a lot of bullish momentum. This market I'm only looking to buy, and at the moment in time, 137.5 is the only area that fits my criteria. So I'll keep an eye on this level. I probably won't get a trade on USD JPY next week unless we see a big retracement, but there are other pairs that look a little bit more attractive, which we'll get into later in the video. But we'll keep an eye to see if this can happen, but if not, I'll just leave it USD JPY alone. So that's my analysis going into next week for this pair. Okay, so on to USD CAD. So USD CAD is starting to look attractive now. We're starting to see some really good momentum to the upside. Last weekly analysis, I was talking about price making these lower highs and also these higher lows simultaneously. So I haven't been a fan of the price action because I want structure to be very, very clear as to where its direction is heading. Whether it's bullish or bearish doesn't matter, but I want to see clear structure in a particular direction. And when I'm getting lower highs but higher lows, this is the market just consolidating in a very triangular symmetrical way and getting ready for a big move. And now we've seen the move to the upside, so this is the move that I want to follow. Nice push to the upside, clearing out all of these weaker highs and including this high here as well. So now I'm looking for more upside for USD CAD, and also this fits the higher time frame bias as well. So if I quickly flick to the higher time frames, let me delete that trend line first. So if we go to the higher time frames, you can see the higher time frame trend is still up to the upside. Market's creating all these higher highs and higher lows. This is kind of consolidation, but if you look closely, the market is still printing higher lows here. The market is still pushing to the upside ever so slightly, so I'm still expecting a push back to 1.39 eventually, and this could be the start of that move. We came very, very close last kind of big bullish move, and if you can clear this resistance here, I think 1.39 is probably our next destination. So buys on the pullbacks back up to that area is basically the plan for USD CAD. So I'm looking at pullbacks. This is my area of interest, coming back into 1.3550, 1.356. I'm looking at buys into that zone there. First target, nice logical first target back into the resistance here on the left, where the market is coming into now as well. That'd be a great place to maybe move stop loss to break even or take some partials. And then 1.39 may or may not look to push it that far. We've got some solid resistance there on the left. I might leave some to trickle if things look good, if momentum looks good. But 1.38, coming back into resistance here on the left, it's a strong daily level. That is a good place to take some profit there as well. But in terms of direction and the plan for USD CAD, it is definitely looking for buys. We've got a really nice area of confluence here at 1.356. Starting to see some good momentum, as you can see. Strong bullish move 1, strong bullish move 2, breaking the high. Now let's see if we can get some retracements into this zone and some buy opportunities. So that's the plan going to USD CAD next week. Keep an eye on 1.356 targets, 1.365, 1.379, and then ultimately 1.39 there as well. So USD CAD looking good for some buys next week. Okay, so Euro Pound, the analysis for this one hasn't really changed from last week. Last week we had pretty much consolidation, and this week we had a continuation of that consolidation. And if you've been on the channel for a while, or probably even recently, you probably know that I'm not a big fan of consolidation. This type of price action makes me want to stay well away from it. There is still a good opportunity I can spot though on Euro Pound if we have a nice move to the upside. There's this lovely level here. If I zoom out and look at the bigger 4H structure here, as you can see, lovely momentum to the downside, retracement, lovely momentum to the downside again. Now we have this ugly kind of downside consolidation move, which has been ugly. But if we can get a pop to the upside, take out some of these weaker highs, test that level there, which we had a lovely reaction from, broke through a minor retest. Let's see if we can get a bigger retest of that level. And then see if we can get a nice follow through to the downside. Because again, this structure, bearish structure is still at play. But I just don't want to be looking for anything in this area. The market is, sort of retesting a key level it broke through not too long ago. So as you can see, broken support term resistance. But when the market's consolidating like this, just underneath a level, it doesn't flood me with confidence to look to enter any trades at that area. So I'm looking to see if maybe you can break slightly above that level, test this 4H zone there, and then probably get some nice sells there to the downside and see a continuation of this momentum. Probably got some good fib confluence in that area. Probably coming to like the 50, 0.618. So I do like this zone a lot, but obviously I need to see that push to the upside first. If that push doesn't happen, then I'm not interested with Euro Pound. So we'll keep an eye on 0.876. This is the only kind of level that does suit me. Again, my goal with trading is not necessarily to try and predict where the market will go and predict to try and get into every single position, every single trade. It's just to spot the good opportunities, and when they arise, make sure I'm there to take them. And Euro Pound, the only good opportunity I can see that fits my analysis, fits my plan, is a retest of 0.876 and then monitoring price action there for some shorts. Anything else I'm not interested in. So we'll keep an eye on this one, see if we can get that move. If not, then we don't, we move on to another pair. But some shorts up there look good for push, right back down to lows, keeping it simple into 0.867. So keep an eye on that opportunity there for Euro Pound next week. Okay, so now on to Aodu USD. So Aodu USD is finally doing what we want it to do: break to the downside with good momentum, clear out the lows and start breaking out that consolidation. And long term, Aodu USD is looking very, very attractive. We're looking for a push down to these lows. This is the weekly time frame, by the way, and as you can see, the market has been evidently giving us these really nice lower highs here. So looking at that pattern continuing back down to prior lows as well, and probably even coming back to the COVID lows here back in 2020 as well. So long-term shorts for AU look very, very good. Higher time frames, monthly, weekly, daily, 4H, everything is pointing to the downside. Everything is giving us very strong bearish structure and good bearish momentum as well. So now my job is simply to look for the pullbacks and ride that momentum to the downside. Now, again, I'm not looking to hold the trade all the way back down to 0.62, even though my higher time frame analysis tells me it can go there. Maybe if I'm lucky and if I catch a good trade and it starts really pushing my direction, then I might leave a small amount to trickle, 10%, maybe 20% of the position to run to 0.62. But I'm more than happy to take my profits around 1 to 3, 1 to 4 and see if I can get back into another trade. So yeah, with AUSD, I will be looking for shorts for this one. Two areas of interest are in my mind right now. Number one being 0.658, which the market broke through not too long ago, and also this level here as well. Both haven't really had a retest yet, so these are where my focus will lie. I'm looking to see if we can get a retest either one of these levels. Again, the price action around them and how we pull back is going to be where I place a lot of importance, because again, we don't want to be just shorting when we get there. We want to see a good evidence that the market's actually rejecting that level first, and then I'll be looking to hop into the shorts and targets, back down to prior lows. So if we do pull back from here or around this area, obviously the market will create a low here, so naturally that could be a good target to aim for. On the left, I have been talking about these levels recently as well. Some of these lows here can be some good targets too. 0.64 down there, bit of a way away, but again, it will be up to you how you want to manage your trades. But those are the levels I'll be considering looking to short from. In terms of the multi-time frame analysis for AU, everything is looking spot on for AU. So now we're just looking to just get some good entries and take advantage of the opportunity. Again, nothing's 100% as well, so don't go and risk your whole account on some shorts on AU, but it just looks like a good opportunity that, if we can get a good setup, it definitely should be one that we look to take. So AUD shorts looking good, levels of interest 0.658 and also 0.66, and naturally shorts back down to the prior lows if we pull back from here, of course, into 0.65. Okay, so over to NZD CAD. So NZD CAD melted to the downside aggressively this week. Of course, the NZD news helped this one out, but a credible move to the downside. The market just rejected this higher time frame channel. I was looking for the market to break through this. We're coming to that area for the fourth time. The market was still very, very corrective. So I was waiting for the buys above this level, above 0.855, but we never got the breakout. So I never looked for the buy opportunities there. And obviously you can see very strong rejection. And since then, the market has taken out some key lows there as well. So NZD CAD predominantly very, very bearish right now, especially with that momentum. Now the market's created this bearish structure of impulse, correction, and even bigger impulse. I'm expecting more downside now for NZD CAD within this channel. So I'm seeing a really good level here at 0.838 for a retest of that structure for some sells. I'm not really looking at the support and resistance level on the left here. Price may break and retest that, but I'm not interested. I want to see a bigger pullback, and we broke through this momentum. We broke through this kind of great momentum, and obviously you have not got a retest of that structure as well. So this is looking like a fantastic level to catch some retest at around 0.838. Now, will we get there next week? I'm not too sure. It'll be a hell of a retracement for us to get there, because obviously the market is very, very bearish right now and trading all the way back down those lows. So I'm not too sure if we'll get that trade I'm looking for this week, but that is the only suitable level I can see for NZD CAD. The market is, extremely bearish. There might be some buys to take advantage of the retracement. I'm not really interested of those buys, a little bit too aggressive. Again, the 4H structure is still incredibly bearish right now. I'm only looking to follow that momentum until that structure changes, and unless we start seeing some crazy upside, we probably won't be looking to do that anytime soon. So for me, I'm just looking at pullbacks and shorts, and this is the only viable level for me to take some shorts at 0.838. So that will be my level of interest next week. I'll be keeping an eye on this level. Again, I'm not too sure if we'll get there, but set an alert, forget about it. As the CAD shorts around there will be looking good. We'll start looking for some entry confirmations, and obviously a push back down to where we retrace from into prior lows. If we retrace from here or slightly down, that'll be up to the market. But the thesis, the plan for NZD CAD going into next week is definitely look at shorts, and my area of interest will be 0.838. So keep an eye out for that level next week for NZD CAD. Okay, so pound NZD, again, another NZD pair, big move to the upside this week. I was looking to see if we can catch the lower high coming into the week. This was a pair on my watch list. Unfortunately, the market just broke straight through the level, so no entry signal coming into this area here. Lovely resistance with those wicks, looking to see if we can get some more rejection into that area of confluence. As you can see, the news just broke straight through, and since then the market has been taking out structure after structure and has just taken out the highs there as well just before the weekly candle close. So this is looking very, very impressive on the weekly, and for me, I'm looking for the market to come back with the highs here on the left, and probably eventually the highs here as well. The market is starting to hold areas of resistance now as support. As you can see, we're struggling to break. Well, we did break through the resistance, but came straight back underneath. Struggled to break through here, and now the market is now retesting that same level, and now seeing confident closures above it as well. So I'm expecting momentum to take us back into the high, maybe eventually that high there as well. So the trajectory for pound NZD is looking very, very bullish going forward. And I said after we saw this big push to the upside, let me just get rid of the zone there. A retest of this level would be very, very nice going forward. Obviously, I hadn't had that yet, but the market's quite overextended, so we might see the market retrace. As you can see, we're quite corrective right now. We might see a push back down, retrace, and get some solid buys there going into next week. But again, this is looking like the only kind of viable level for me to look to buy from going forward. So keep an eye on 2.01. I've got that level at 2.0115. and that as well, I'll be looking for my long opportunities on the retest of that structure. Haven't got a retest since we broke through, so this is looking like a good level to buy from. And again, naturally targets, can be back to highs into that level there if we push a little bit higher, or even into 2.05, which is where we've got that significant high there on the daily and the weekly charts. That will be up to you where you place your targets. But in terms of direction, pound NZD, very bullish on this one after that break of structure. Again, I'm just using structure to navigate through the market. Was bearish, now bullish. Now we're looking for buys. Very, very simple. So let's see if we can get some good retracements for pound NZD and some long positions from 2.014, 2.015 going into next week. Okay, so now on to CAD Yen. So CAD Yen still looking extremely bullish. Didn't quite see the retracement I was after this week. Had some lovely high lows coming into this area. As we can evidently see, 1, 2, 3, lovely resistance. Looking to see if we can get the retest of that area coming into 101 to 50-ish. But all we had this week was consolidation, and it looks just before the weekly candle closed, a bit of a pop to the upside there. So if we can really start to pull away from this area, I will look at this for a retest and continuation. But right now it's just a little bit too shallow for me. Not to say that it won't work, but the type of trades I'm looking for is bigger retracements and the bigger follow throughs. This could be a nice little trade on maybe the 30 to 15 minute, kind of an intraday trade and the retest of that structure. But I do want to see a deeper retracement for CAD Yen like we've seen here and like we've seen here. Looking for that to happen again. So if the market really starts to pull away, then I'll start looking for the retest of the consolidation for some long opportunities. But right now we've only got one significant candle closure. I'm not looking for the retest now. I need price to really start pushing through. I still do expect a lot more upside for CAD Yen. Looking at price coming back into this significant low here on the left at around 105. Is it 105? Yeah, around 105. Really nice support level. Market pulled to the upside, broke through that same area. I think that's most likely where the market is going to be attracted towards. We could break through potentially, but as this bullish structure continues, that's where my target is. That's where I'll be looking to buy CAD Yen up towards, as long as we print those higher highs and higher lows. So for me, I still see more upside for this one. So if we do push up a little bit, that's fantastic. Pull back, then get the buys there as well. Of course, if you're looking intraday, then keep an eye on 102 900 for the retest early next week. But for me, I need price to push on a little bit further, then I'll start looking for my trades. But in terms of the structure, it's still pretty clear, consecutive higher lows. So structure is simple, direction is simple. Just now looking for a good trade to actually get involved. But yeah, CAD Yen pretty bullish, looking at 105 as daily and weekly targets. Hopefully you can get a bit more of a follow through than a pullback. 102 900 is while we're looking for entries, and targets back up into that daily zone there. So keep an eye on CAD Yen. Structure's looking good, momentum's there. Just need to get a good setup. Okay, so now into pound USD. So pound USD, nice bearish structure, not really setting the world alight with the momentum, but we are seeing successive lower lows and lower highs. These will probably make up for some decent opportunities, maybe in the hourly or 30-minute time frame, catching these lower highs, retesting some structure. But more importantly, for pound USD, we're breaking back underneath 1.245. And what it's looking like is potentially having a big fake out of 1.245, which is this move to the upside. And potentially we just had a big fake out of the consolidation for a move back down to the low of the consolidation. Because again, pound USD was fluctuating between these two levels very aggressively not too long ago. Then we got the breakout to the upside. It was looking like pound USD was going to really start pushing away, but we never did. We kind of consolidated and saw some aggressive selling pressure kick back in, and saw some really strong bearish candles there on the daily. And since then, the market's crept back underneath 1.245. So this up move here could potentially just be a big fake out. If we can stay below 1.245, I would expect to see a big move back down to 1.19 into the low of the consolidation. We can also pinpoint the midpoint of the consolidation around 1.22. This is a significant level of resistance, and again, the midpoint normally is a very sensitive place in consolidation, which almost lines up with the 50% of the Fibonacci. So 1.22 is a good area to consider at taking partials or taking profits. But the bigger picture is that pound USD could be seeing a bigger swing to the downside if we remain below 1.245 on the daily chart. So going forward, we're just looking at shorts. This is a more long-term projection, but if that is so, for the next 2, 3, 4 weeks, we're basically looking to short pound USD and some good pullbacks. all the way back down to 1.19. So it does make our job as traders much simpler because we've got a clear direction on the higher time frame. And again, nothing's 100%. It could be wrong. We could obviously close back above this level and start pushing back up again. Things change. But as long as we stay below 1.245, I know me myself, I would be looking for quality pullbacks to short pound USD heading to the downside. So going forward, the kind of only opportunity I'm looking at right now for for pound USD is at 1.245. It's some shorts around there. We've got these wicks lining up quite nicely. 1, 2, let's see if we can get a third one into that same area. Obviously retesting that daily zone 2, and shorts back into the midpoint of the zone at around 1.22. Looks pretty good. Solid resistance there, solid support. We could be seeing the market attracted to that. Then maybe we might break through into 1.19. But in terms of risk reward, this looks very, very attractive anyway. So pound USD for me, looking at some pullbacks back into 1.245. Let's see what type of entry signals we can get. Then yeah, looking to ride that momentum back down to 1.22 for next week. Okay, so now on to pound CAD. So pound CAD's been moving a little bit sideways, but still rejecting that same daily level. So if I highlight that real quick, as you can see, a lovely level of resistance there on the daily chart, similar to pound USD and obviously both pound pairs. As you can see, significant resistance once, twice. Now the market is back underneath that level. So I still do expect to see pound CAD take a dive to the downside. We've got some lovely areas of support here in the daily, which we can probably go in and retest. But the market is moving sideways, so I wouldn't be so confident jump into the position, even though we are still rejecting that area. And there is still a possibility that the market is still evidently bullish. We've got higher highs and higher lows, so there is still a possibility the market could still break through the resistance and actually look for some buy opportunities like so. So for me, for pound CAD, I'll be staying away to see if we can break through this low here, and then looking for, that is a horrible line. Let me just use the line tool there. Much better. So I'll be seeing if we can break through this zone here, catch the retest on that, and then take the sells into 1.66. Hopefully you can get some good follow through and good momentum on the move to the downside, because right now the market is just still respecting the same level, but just not moving how I want it to. The market is just very, very corrective and consolidating. But if we do break to the upside, the buys are definitely back on, and I can definitely see a good buy opportunity coming into fruition for maybe a push even back to the prior highs. Because again, if we zoom out, you can see the overall structure is still bullish, higher highs and higher lows. This could potentially be a higher low if I whip out the old Fibonacci from the low to the high. As you can see, we're coming to that 0.618 and rejecting that area. So all it takes is, a couple strong candles breaking us back above. A retest looks very, very good to take the longs there. But at the same time, we're still respecting that resistance. So I've got to favor the sells. And obviously we do have this bearish structure at play too. So I'm looking for a push back down to 1.66. But first, I do want to see if we can clear that resistance, clear the support, sorry, and then look for the retest of that same level. If not, then I will be looking at the buys at 1.685 if we can break above. But so far we are rejecting it, so it's going to take some strong momentum for us to see a break. But we will see. Things can change very, very quickly in the market. So these are the opportunities I'm looking at for pound CAD. Anything in this area here, I'm not interested. Like I said, the market's moving sideways. I want to see if we can get some momentum either up or down, and then I'll look to follow it in the direction the market is trading. So we just have to stay patient and wait for the market to give us that move. But this is my analysis going forward for pound CAD going into next week. Okay, so over to pound yen. So pound yen still looking very bullish, as we can see market printing all these high lows, and recently we just broke out the consolidation there just before the weekly candle closed there. It looks like the yen pairs were quite strong just before the weekly candle closed and breaking to the upside. So I'm expecting more upside now for pound yen simply. I mean, for targets it's a little bit tricky because again we haven't been at these prices since like 2016. Yeah, 2016 February, 2016 January, maybe even 2015. So we haven't been here for a long time, so there's no kind of real level I'm targeting with pound yen. Maybe from a higher time frame, weekly, monthly perspective, we can look at some areas here on the left. Key support there around 176 400. We could be looking at a push into that level there. So long-term projection, using the weekly, monthly time frames, we can probably get something on there. But from daily, 4H, intraday, you're kind of just working on psychological levels or recent highs and recent lows the markets create. So with pound yen, breaks and retests look good. So the market just had a nice little break there. Let's see if we can get a retest of the structure and then look for some continuations from that perspective. I wouldn't hold the trade too long, just because again we haven't been at these prices for quite a while. We might see deeper retracements from here. We're taking out some very substantial highs down the left. We might still see some strong bearish momentum in retracements, but on the lower time frame, retest the 172,500, you can probably get some nice trades there, definitely intraday, and even push back to prior highs if the market does pull back down there, or even to the next psychological level at 174. 175 is a big one, so probably keep that marked on your chart as well as a nice target if you want to push your trade slightly further. But as the areas of interest for longs, 172,500 is looking pretty good. So yeah, looking at upside for pound yen. Let's see if we can get a retest of that structure and get some follow through to the upside. Okay, so now onto gold. So gold's still looking pretty bearish. We're looking for more downside this week. We did eventually get it off the back of some news, but I was looking to short from 2k, never got that retracement, so was not able to take advantage of that momentum. But nonetheless, I still think there's more downside for gold. Like I said, I'm looking at price coming further, maybe 1900. There's a key level here just above that, which we probably can see a retest of, maybe even some deeper areas around 1850, 1860 as well. So I still do see more downside for gold, especially with the price action, the higher time frames too. Now I'm just looking at some pullbacks. We still got some nice bearish structure, still seeing some nice bearish momentum. And now this area here, which once was a very key level of support, which I remember did buy from when we were trading from there, now the market is broken through that and now flipped as resistance. So let's see if we can get a stab into the zone here and possibly a next lower high. We're getting successive lower highs now, as you can see from the high here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see if we can get a fifth one, retesting a valuable level of resistance, and we can look to place our trades off the back of that. And again, continuations back down to the low or even to the key daily zone around 1910 as well, coming to that prior high on the left. But yeah, the way I see it for gold, more downside. So I'm just looking for pullbacks onto some strong areas of value, good confluence, looking for entry signal and then taking the shorts accordingly. So my area of interest is this level here at 1970. I will keep an eye on 2k, but I'm not too sure if we'll get there again. This is looking like the next valuable area of interest for me. So hoping to get a retest of 1970 and some shorts back down to the 1910 area. Okay, so over to Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, not much this week, basically just consolidation, market moving sideways. Had some slight bearish momentum, but it hasn't really pulled anywhere just yet. I'm still looking at 25k for some buys, which is still looking good. Still looking at buys around that zone for a pop to the upside. We are printing some lower highs, so I'm not too sure how far I'll look to take the trade, but I do think we can come into the zone, see a nice push. We might form another lower high and come back down again, but nonetheless, it's a decent level where we can probably get a good reaction. Of course, how you react to that level will be important too. I did say there could be some short-term sales in the meantime. Never really came to that zone into 27, 28k. 27,750, 28k, never really made it into that zone. So now the market's kind of just sluggishly rolling over. So there could be some shorts on the lower time frames in the meantime before we get to 25k. That's if we get to 25k, but as things look, it looks likely. So I do think there could be some shorts. As you can see, the market's printing these lower highs here, and now we're starting to rip to the downside, seeing some good momentum. So as we approach resistance again, naturally this is a nice place to look for some sells. Coming back into this area, we might pop into 27,200, lower high, could see another one, then get the next bearish leg to the downside. So could be some lower time frame trades there. Don't really look at Bitcoin below 4H, but if you are, there could be some nice trades there intra-week, intraday, but I will be focused on 25k because I do think we can get a nice bounce there, maybe back into a retest this prior low here, which again is more than enough. We can get a decent risk reward from that move there. So Bitcoin for me still temporary bearish, but looking for buys around 25k. So if you're looking at the low time frames, keep an eye on 27,200 for some lower highs around that, and for a push back down to 25k for next week. Okay, so now on to our bonus pair, which this week is USD CHF. So this one's looking like a nice long opportunity on the 4H. We'll progress into the time frame shortly after, but I just want to point out the weekly time frame because we are rejecting a very key level on the weekly time frame. As you can see, this support level gave us this humongous move to the upside, and recently the market just about wicked into that level and is seeing some upside as well. So I'm not too sure if we could see something as big as that, but I do think we could see some type of reaction for USD CHF, meaning there is probably more upside to it in this bullish move. And now that we've broken outside this consolidation, importantly outside this resistance level, I'm looking for some longs here going forward for USD CHF. Now I'm not looking for anything too crazy. Again, I did pinpoint the weekly time frame of that crazy move, but I'm just looking for some nice intra-week plays. The market was retesting this resistance here, it dipped below, so I wasn't too much of a fan of buying USD CHF this week. But now that back above this area, I'm looking to see if we can stab back into 0.9, into this level of support, or just below 0.9, and then I'll be looking for my long opportunities after that. So I'll be keeping an eye on this level. As you can see, lovely resistance once, twice, was support briefly, the market dipped below, so I'm looking to see if we can use it as support again, and naturally, you know, a push back to highs. If I can get 1 to 3 into that, I'll be more than happy to take my profit there. Maybe push a little bit higher. We got this lovely wick rejection here when the market, you know, capitulates to the downside very aggressively, so could see the market attracted to that area there around 0.912. But in terms of entry direction, we're looking at longs, and we're looking at entering around 0.89985 into that lovely 4H resistance. So I'll probably drop to the hourly and look for some entries on that time frame. But yeah, USD CHF looking good. I'm liking the structure, higher time frame backing as well. So now let's see if we can get that one more down move and get some nice longs to the upside. And also the market is just making higher lows for days there, so looking to see if we can get in on that action, take advantage of another intra-week move to the upside. So keep an eye on USD CHF, probably will be on the watch list going into next week. And also make sure you are in the Telegram as well, because I do post my weekly watch list every single week there, so make sure you go check that out if you want to see. But yeah guys, that has brought us to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you have found it useful, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe if you haven't done it already as well, hit the bell so you don't miss out on any uploads or streams in the future. But guys, thank you so much for watching the video. Have a great weekend, and I'll catch you all next week.